Rick asked, "What time do you want to go to the port? Do you know the time of arrival of the cargo?" Jones said, "The time is not certain. And whether it will arrive by ship or boat, we do not know. But we are sure that it will arrive today." Rick grinned and said, "What do you mean? The time and what they will bring, we do not know. Then how are you sure that it will arrive today?" "Well, Tiger's people have been visiting the port and that warehouse a lot recently. You know we are severely short of manpower, when we can use the manpower to try to arrest them. This is where we really need Daya. He is not in the same administrative constraints and the risk of being exposed as we are." Daya said, "When we get to the port, one of you who knows the relevant cocaine shipment will show me the rest of it with me." Kate got up and said, "Let's go." The others got up and after a while they were on their way to the port. When they arrived there, the port was full of noise and traffic. From the flight and cries of seagulls to the movement of cars and people. They went to one of the identified warehouses and stood in a place away from the attention of others. Jim showed Daya the warehouse and looked for people from Tiger or Kintz. And after a while he shook his head in denial. Rick looked at his watch. It was 10 a.m. The sound of the ship's horn made them notice him. The passenger ship was moving and leaving the port. The people on the ship were waving to their escorts. Rick suddenly caught sight of a man walking along the pier. He turned to Kate and the others and said, "That man wearing a phosphor green shirt and black pants, by that platform, I think I saw him somewhere. You know him too, or maybe, he looks like him." They also looked carefully. Jones said, "Now it turns out. Stand facing me at a distance, I'll take a picture of him. The sight can be used to identify him." They prepared to take a picture. Jones zoomed in on the man's face with his mobile phone and, when his face was more clear, took several pictures and sent them to the site for identification and waited for the answer. They monitored the man so that he wouldn't disappear when the result came. When the answer came and he was identified as Jordan Hyper, Rick nodded. Kate said, "You have a good memory." "I think he's waiting. There must have been something wrong. No one is with him." Daya asked, "You mean you can't get information from him?" "I'll pull out whatever is in his mind if you want." Jim said, "There's no harm in testing him." Saying this, Daya disappeared and they saw her approaching Jordan from behind. Jones shrugged in surprise. They were waiting for Daya to attack. When Jordan turned to him, this option was ruled out. Jordan shook hands with Daya and after a while they went to the other side and away from the crowd. Kate said, "What do you think she told him that Jordan went with her so easily?" Rick said, "I don't know, but I think she seduced him." The purebreds can dominate the mind and body of their prey, and even though the person knows they shouldn't be with them and tries to get away from them, they can't and unconsciously give in. "You mean it can be that scary?" Rick nodded. After a while, Daya joined them. She said, "The cargo was supposed to be brought to the port by a private yacht. But it seems that the boat has had problems and is arriving late. Jordan is also waiting for the boat to arrive and inform the others so that they can unload it and take it to the warehouse." Jones said, "You did a great job. With their arrival, our job is to identify them and take pictures and get a few of those bottles." Kate turned to Daya and said, "How did you get him to cooperate with you?" She immediately felt a strange feeling in herself. She looked into Daya's eyes. They were sparkling. Daya walked towards her with a smile and said, "You are mine, Kate. The smell of your blood turns me on so badly." She opened her mouth and her fangs began to rise. Everyone could see the fear and widening of Kate's eyes. But she couldn't move away from her. Kate said in fear, "Daya, please." "I can't move." She took a step back, but she still returned to her previous position. She looked at the others for help. But it seemed that they couldn't move either. Gradually, he stopped struggling. Daya's smile deepened. A moment later, she was standing face to face with her. Dia suddenly bent her head towards Kit's neck and placed her fangs on it and pressed a little. Kit let out a short scream. Dia pulled her head back and looked into Kit's terrified eyes and trembling pupils and smiled again. She moved a little further back. Kit suddenly jumped back quickly and put her hand on her neck and looked at it immediately. There was no trace of blood. Kit asked in a surprised and nervous tone, "What did you do to me?" "Although I was free, I couldn't leave you. The pull I had towards you was much stronger than my will." Dia returned to her normal state and said, "This was the reason Jordan worked with me.